Why don't you tell me a bit about yourself and your experience?
Throughout your working life, you'll need to network. When you're starting out, it's a key way of finding information and getting advice. And also, networking is the art of getting known by people who work in the area you want to work in. We filmed 8 students in an information interview. That doesn't mean asking for a job, but asking for information on the career you're interested in, advice on how to get started, and contacts you can follow up.
What's more important to you? Is it the academic side or actually having relevant experience?
How do I sell myself over those guys who have got lots and lots of different experiences?
How did you get started?
What's it like working in the industry that you working at the moment?
How do I break into this industry and make it a success?
What would you say the challenges and setbacks are to a person trying to get involved in PR?
What kind of experience would you say that you would need before going into a social work course?
How did you start your career in fashion?
Well,
We're keen to encourage people to information interview. An information interview is where you ask for 20 minutes to go and talk to someone about a career area. You go along with some questions to ask them. What's a good day? What's a bad day? Why did you get into the job?
Quite often, that's a good starter for 10. If you can't get a placement, just see if somebody within the organisation, doesn't matter how junior or how senior, would be willing to spare 15 minutes and, offer to buy them a Starbucks and pick their brains for a quarter of an hour, because, you're not taking up too much time and people don't usually mind talking about themselves for 15 or 20 minutes, do they?
What do employers think about people asking them about their work in this way?
I quite like it actually. When somebody's a bit interested in what you do, it makes you feel a bit more appreciated, because I'm very interested in my job and I love my job. So I like somebody that's interested in it, and I can sort of, tell them all the things that we do that's really good and all the pressures that, that we are against as well.
Speaking from my personal experience, I think, I was in her position a couple of years back, 5 years back. So I'm more than happy to go out of my way and help her, provide her with information.
I usually say, send me an email with all the questions that you want answering, and that's a good starting point. And then some of them will say, I'd like to come and have a look round, and it'd be nice to ask you some questions face to face. And if I can accommodate that from a time point of view, I will try to. Do your research first and then approach somebody, but already knowing some of the background information, but wanting to know more.
If you approach them in the right way, most people are happy to give advice if you show an interest in entering their profession.
What do you think I should be doing to make my application stronger?
I think you need to look at perhaps some formal journalism qualifications.
He gave me some good advice, which I've taken on. He told me that I shouldn't just stick with magazine journalism, that I should try newspaper and all these other things, which I haven't really done before. I've just kind of thought I want to do magazine.
This is about just starting to build the right sort of connections that might be useful, to your chosen career at the very start of your career. And possibly through one of those connections, you might hear of an opportunity, or somebody that you met at an event might remember you when they hear that somebody else is looking for an opportunity. It might just mean that they remember who you are and open your email or the CV that you send a week later to say, we had a really interesting conversation about whatever it was. Hope you don't mind, but I'm looking for a job. Keep me on file, keep me in mind.
There used to be a saying that it's not what you know, but who you know. I would add to that and say it's important who knows you.
It's an activity that happens day to day in business environments, and if you're presenting a professional, friendly, warm approach and asking the right kind of questions, it's learn more information, understand who they know, understand the processes of their recruitment policies, get yourself known to them, get yourself visible.
If we see a good CV from somebody that's gone the extra mile, and actually you think, no, that's a really good CV, we might not have a job at the moment, but we'll usually try and invite somebody in to just have a cup of coffee and a chat for half an hour. If that's somebody that I think, I think there's some promise there, they're probably going to end up, they will get a job in PR. That's in my interest then to know the good people who are coming in to the the industry in Cardiff.
Where do you start? That's often the question, and I say to students, think about friends and family. In order to build a network, often the best place to start is closest to home. We're surrounded by contacts and possible leads.
People think immediately of having to turn up at big corporate events on your own and walk into a room full of sort of 400, sort of scary suits and try and find a way to introduce yourself and all that sort of thing. But I think what we're talking about is actually working out how you can build some of those connections that will help you to make introductions with people who might be able to help you then find a job. So, obvious place to start within the university. Careers Service will obviously have links with businesses. The business school probably has links. So immediately, without even having got off campus, you can start to build up that network.
University alumni departments are fantastic for this. So if you found someone who's graduated from your university a year before, a couple of years before, they're fantastic points of information that you can go and speak to and say, can I take you for a coffee for 20 minutes just to find out what you did upon graduation. And again, you'll be surprised at how friendly people generally are, as long as you keep to the rules, you're polite and courteous, and don't exceed 20 minutes.
You're not asking somebody for a job, you're asking people for to give you a good understanding of what it is to work for that organisation and that, that kind of role, to allow you to gain more knowledge about the business.
Make sure that you're looking at gaining more information and knowledge from them. You're not trying to sell them anything necessarily. You're trying to pass on to them your information, get yourself in their thought processes. So it's a case of not asking for a job, but if you ask them potentially, do you know the recruitment process that your organisation uses, or who's the best person to speak to about recruitment, then they're more likely to seek that out or maybe even know it to feed it straight back into you. And you've learnt that next step of information that you can go on and develop further.
This isn't about just finding the first job. This is about building a network that you will go on building through the whole of your career. So this isn't about walking into a room with a sheaf of CVs under your arm and trying to buttonhole everybody and get a job.
It's a good idea to go along with a list of questions. Lee, a recent fashion graduate, spoke to John Moore, a haute couturier. Did he think she made good use of the opportunity to talk to someone in the business?
She had a golden opportunity there to fire questions at me. She could have asked me 1,001 questions had she wanted to. But she didn't have a lot of questions. I think maybe if I'd been in her position, I might have had a few questions jotted down on a piece of paper that I want to ask, because it's so easy to forget questions when you're suddenly confronted with someone. I know it's a scary situation and it can be very daunting.
Your final question should be, who should I now go and speak to? And once someone's suggested a name for you to go and talk to, you can then use that by saying, X has told me to come and have a chat with you. Very quickly you'll find you've got access to a certain network, and you can use that network to give you information about jobs or opportunities.
To sum up, networking is crucial in most career areas, to get information and advice, and to build up contacts in your chosen field. Start close to home with your family, friends, lecturers, or graduates of your course. Your Careers Service can help you get started. Suggest a short meeting or even start online. Go with a list of prepared questions. Come away with more names to contact, but you're not asking for a job.